Hi, it's Dr. Ev, and today I want to talk about 3 common signs of being stuck in fight or flight, or our nervous system's sympathetic response. This is such a common response that many of us are going through, and it is what causes a couple of really common symptoms. So it can be hard though to identify whether this is you, because we don't necessarily relate to feeling like we're in survival mode, right? But that is actually just what our nervous system is doing. Our nervous system is trying to help us survive, and it has some pretty old school way of doing that translate pretty differently in our modern life. So that's why I wanted to go through this with you today. So the first one is posture. If you struggle with posture, it's not just because you're sitting all day or because you need to work at your desk. Of course, those don't really help, but with proper training and conditioning that is happening alongside, you can still maintain pretty good posture. And a lot of you guys use standing desks and stuff like that. But what it is on a neurological level, when we are in fight or flight, right? Our nervous system perceives something as a threat and we go into that fight or flight response. Then what that means is our bodies are literally using the physiology to prepare for either fighting or running away. And so we have mechanisms in our body that actually send blood flow and energy to our limbs and to our legs, to the big muscles of our traps and things like that, to help us with that, survival endeavor. What that means though is we start to sacrifice the small muscles that are postural and proprioceptive. So our small muscles around our spine are actually there to help give our body information about where we are in space and help us locate where things are in relation to ourselves. And that is secondary. When you are trying to run away from an immediate threat, saber-toothed tiger, other warrior coming at you, whatever, your body's not so worried about the little nuance. But the thing is, then if we get stuck in that pattern, when we try to activate, we try to sit up straight, our big muscles like our hip flexors and our traps, they're taking priority. So then it's like awkward. It's hard to sit up straight. And we actually struggle. We actually try, and we keep reminding ourselves, and we keep saying, oh, why is my head going forward? And it's because those muscles are not online. They're not taking priority over the big muscles. Okay, number 2 is chronic tension. It kind of goes along the same vein, but when we have those traps that are set to be tight, and we have those, psoas muscles that are set to flex our hips for running and all of that stuff, it's not gonna let go until we get the nervous system on board. So you might use a Theragun, a fascia blaster, you might use a massage roll, a myofascial release, or a foam roller or something like that. You might even get a massage once a month or even once a week, who knows? I'm sorry to say, but you are not going to get rid of that chronic tension until your nervous system feels safe. And hey, that's a good thing, because if it was actually a threat, we'd want this response. We'll go into, perceived threats have the same exact reaction in our physiology as real ones. So that's where we start to struggle in our modern age. Now, this, if you have a workout or something and then you're feeling tight and tense, you know the difference. You roll out, you feel better, you start to get moving in the day and you feel less tense. I'm talking about the chronic tension that is just so hard to get rid of always. This is a lot of times in our jaw, right? In our neck. One side is feeling just so tight all the time. Our hip flexors, right? These big muscles that are taking over, that are not going to stop until we give it a new signal. And then third is our level of exhaustion. It's like we're wired but tired. We are so exhausted. Being in chronic survival mode takes a ton of energy, right? pumping blood to those big muscles, just being ready to run or fight at any given moment is hugely energetically taxing. And so we're exhausted in our bodies, but yet we can't relax because, again, those muscles are set to be tense. They're set to go. And we also don't want to relax because, like, hello, when you're asleep, you're vulnerable. That's not safe to be asleep when there's a threat, an active threat that our body is perceiving, right? So that is why we have got to address the nervous system and the underlying causes of the nervous system. There are tons of things that you can do to calm down, okay? That's not necessarily what I'm saying. When it gets to a point where we are so chronically in fight or flight, there's a little bit more rewiring that has to happen. Your nervous system, your brain, has now created pathways where going into fight or flight and staying there is actually the norm. And it takes some very specific and very careful stimulation of the spine to help rewire your brain. Get your body used to downshifting, downregulating. Get those things back online. Get those little postural muscles back online. Turn off your traps for a little bit. Then you can start to do some work and some breath work and some habits to catch yourself when you're triggered or when you're going there. But you've got to do a little bit of work to help your nervous system rewire. And that's where chiropractic comes in. So if you were watching my reel or you saw something and you just wanted a little bit more of the science that goes into what I was talking about, then there's that. And I really hope this helped you. If you are wondering, if you've been struggling with these things and you're aware that these things are issues for you, but you just haven't really figured out how to get the ball rolling to change that habit or that pattern, then please reach out. I would absolutely love to help you. I have obviously in-person office hours where I adjust people, but I also have a lot of different tools for nervous system regulation, learning your nervous system, understanding more about your nervous system's responses and all of that. So like and subscribe to my YouTube channel. I'm gonna start to be more active on here. Go to eudaimonia.com and subscribe to my newsletter. I send a lot of stuff out that way. And of course, follow me on Instagram at dr.evd.c. Okay, lovely to chat with you today, and I'll see you soon. Take care.